Hey everybody, it's Christina. Welcome back. Today I am going to be doing some catching up on some card making. I have been a little behind because of the summer, but today I wanted to sit down and make a card, a nice real simple card using the August Spellbinders Stamp and Die of the Month. So we have our stamp set, which has this beautiful floral pattern and lots of great sentiments with it. And then the dies have, these actual dies are fantastic because we can do this as a border edge on one side, or you can use it for both sides if you want to cut out both of them. And there's also the dies that coordinate with the sentiments, but we're not going to be using that today. As a matter of fact, I'm only going to be using one part of this die, and we're going to make a really simple card today, and we're going to go with the black and white theme. I already have my stamp on my MISTI, and I have this all set up to go and lined up. So we're just going to go ahead and stamp this out. I do want to grab a piece of scrap paper to put right here so that I don't get any ink on my foam pad here. And then I am going to take some of my black VersaFine Onyx black ink. I love this ink. I have had this ink pad forever. As a matter of fact, it's old enough that when I first got it, the lids were attached to the base, and I think now the lids are separate. But I have had this ink for quite some time, and as a matter of fact, I think I've only done a refill on it once, and it's been wonderful. So we're just gonna go ahead and ink up this gorgeous stamp right here. And we're gonna stamp this out, and I'm making it so that it's gonna be right along the edge of my 8 1/4, 5.5 by 4 1/4 inch cardstock. So I'm just kind of going to one side of that piece of cardstock, and I'm just using some white cardstock. This is an 80-pound white cardstock. It's not Nina, it's brand or white cardstock that I'm testing that I absolutely, so far I'm loving, and I'm loving it because of how gorgeous the white is. It's a nice bright white. So we're gonna go ahead and stamp this out one more time because it probably needs another good coating of the ink, so we have a nice sharp crisp stamped image. And there we go. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that. I am just going to go ahead and take this stamp off, our main focal stamp, and then I'm going to select my sentiment, and we're going to do this again just inside here. And I think what I'm going to do is the hope all is well with you. I think that's the sentiment we're going to use. I'm going to stick this right onto my cardstock here. Making sure we're nice and straight. I think I'm going to just kind of move that up a little bit higher. We're going to close the lid so we can pick up the stamp. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp that out also in the Onyx black. That is perfect. All right, I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to go ahead and die cut this. I am going to lay this right onto here. What I like about this is it goes right around all of the little details of this stamp, and I'm going to use my best ever tape, which is my favorite tape for die cutting, and tape this down into place, and then we'll go ahead and run this through my die cutter. I love it. We just got to pull off that little piece of the yellow tape there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of black cardstock also, and I'm going to cut this again, but I want it to be in the same area as this one. So I want to, especially because that stamp went off the top of that cardstock. So we want to make sure that it's lined up. I'm just going to stick this stamp back in place, and then I'm going to line up my die right again with that piece of white cardstock just to make sure it's all in the right spot. And then I'm going to run that through my die cutter one more time. And this time I'm going to be cutting that black cardstock. Let's see how that turned out. Perfect. Really love that. That's going to be great. So now what I'm going to do is I actually want to layer this so it kind of gives it a shadow piece to this piece of black cardstock, and you're going to see it more once I get it onto the card base. But I'm going to glue that down with some liquid adhesive so I can kind of move things into place very carefully. Very generous with my glue. And then we're going to go ahead and line this up. And again, I just want it to be a little bit of an offset. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just so it creates kind of a shadow of that image. That is perfect. All right, so there we go. Now I'm going to cut off the top. I'm just going to grab my little mini trimmer here and we're going to cut that down. Before I adhere this panel down, I do want to go ahead and create my card base. This is a piece of white cardstock. It's 120-pound cardstock. It's the same cardstock that I'm testing out for the front of my card. It measures 4¼ by 11, and I'm going to go ahead and score this at 5½. We'll just create a nice fold line here. And then I'm just going to add some foam adhesive to the back of this panel. All right, so I've seen Kathy Zilski do this many times. She takes her card base and puts it up into the corner of her scoring pal. So I'm going to try this and see how it works. I am getting black ink everywhere from this panel. I think my ink just needs to be a little bit more dry. So that worked out so much better than what I usually do, which is try to angle it myself. So we've got to do a little cleanup on my card here because the black ink from the black Onyx wasn't quite dry. So I got a little bit of a smudgies here and there, and they just come off perfectly with my sand eraser. All right, after a little bit of cleaning up of that black ink, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of sequins. And I have these matte black sequins that I thought would be perfect to go with my black and white theme. And I am going to just sprinkle a couple of them onto my card. I think these little matte sequins add a perfect touch. And I love the black matte. I didn't think I would find a use for these, but I am so glad I bought them because I love those. They add a great touch if you're making a black and white card. And this is a great card that can be easily reproduced, stamping out all the images, doing all the die cutting at once. Very simple card. And I love the black shadow that goes around the side over here. I had so much fun making this card that I went ahead and made a second one. And I really love how they turned out. I'm going to make probably 2 more of these and then put them as a little box set that I can give away. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed today's card. Nice, fun, elegant card. Probably a card that you can easily reproduce because the steps were really simple. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.